Having done a number of different research pieces with social enterprises, businesses in the voluntary sector, we know the need for capacity building and investment within Black and Asian businesses. And we see this as a critical time for people to be aware of different opportunities of, mixed blended finance and how they can really help businesses to grow, scale, and remove the dependency on grants. I think stabilizing more trade and ongoing trade for social enterprises and businesses in the Southwest is definitely something that we are focused on as we focus on economic growth and economic inclusion. So it's really great to have a collaboration with yourself so that you can provide, the in-depth work and case studies and examples of other businesses that have taken on your advice and support and how that's transformed their operation. And we know that from the businesses here in the Southwest, that would really resonate a lot with them. I think businesses are definitely, feeling the crux of coronavirus, and finance helps to scale beyond where someone was planning to be, and hopefully helps them to land where they'd like to be. And I think that's access to information, access to finance. Allows businesses to grow faster than they potentially can if they're growing from the bank or mom and dad. And thus, the discussion around finance means that we will be able to see more enterprises and more entrepreneurs rising within different parts of the city. And that's why it's really exciting that we have this opportunity to discuss about financial options. And not only is it just about financial pathways, it's also about, investment, saving and building on equity and so forth. So not how you take it, but how you're responsible for it and how you can also give back through it and how you can grow through Finance. I think whenever people talk about finance, it always sounds like you're taking finance. It's really a relationship with money, and the relationship with money is one that is not just about taking, it's about giving also, and it's about growing. So I think as we look at the multiple options that finances can bring, it's really having open discussions about growth, responsibility, and of course, spending. Yeah, I think our biggest challenge so far has really been about providing supportive and a wraparound service for enterprise development. That's really been a challenge because of the different demands of different businesses, from tech startups to foodies, to young entrepreneurs that cook from home, baking, and now want to scale that out to music events, to magazine and publications. So being able to provide that means that we not only just need to reflect about what we can do, but also to think about who our potential partners are that can help us to make sure that small, medium-sized or larger Black and Asian businesses are able to thrive economically and also contribute greatly in terms of employment, in terms of productivity, and just in terms of upskilling their staff. Social investment takes social investment to be able to get social investment. It's one of those conundrums, really. I think the city has got the city funds, which is a grant from 50K up. But to apply for a grant of 50K up, you probably need 5K or 7K to even start the planning process, or to have the capacity to think about what you're going to do with 50K and how would it work and so forth. So I think to get investments, you need to have investments, or you need to invest in time in thinking about what you will do. And as we're talking about, organizations strapped for cash and strapped for resources and strapped for capacity building, the time to think and reflect about what you want to do with money is critical. And you need money to think about money so that you are not overstressed about what you're thinking about, but you're really in a good space to think about the decisions that you're going to make and the impact that they have and the risk involved, so, and also bring your whole team within that whole responsibility and within the excitement. And I think for us, that's what's exciting, is that as we go towards acquiring a huge asset, it's about bringing the team, it's about bringing the community, and it's also about bringing our partners. Yeah, I think the challenge is understanding really how the financial institutions evaluate what is risk and who are high risk individuals. I came across a small WhatsApp video where a lady was describing currency. And she said, or wealth rather, she said, in Africa, you don't have loan. You don't drive a car with credit. It's because you bought the car, cash. And the house you live in is because you bought it, cash. And the clothes you have is because you bought them, cash. But in the Western world, the house you live in could be credit. The car you drive could be credit. So actually, who is wealthy in this, analogy? Who is wealthy? And, some people may have, cash. Some people may have assets. Some people may have both. Some people may just have assets and no cash. All of that is one form or another of wealth. But what we find is that financial institutions seem to consistently view Asian and the Black minority or majority as high risk individuals, and therefore this is what hinders on our growth potential. You look at the different cultures, the Muslim community, on how they don't prefer in interest and how they club together to support each other, to start up enterprises. And similar methods are used within the Caribbean and the African community to start up things. So it then creates a less dependency on banks as a whole, because the operation model does not necessarily fit all cultures. So sometimes it's really not about the banks, but it's just that the culture of the banks doesn't want to incorporate all other cultures. And maybe the question may be that should the minority community create its own financial institutions that serve for the purpose and the method in which it prefers to be served? Because why lend money from organizations that don't value your way of operating? And as we're talking about, supporting Black and Asian businesses, we're also talking about creating your own wealth streams and managing those wealth streams. So I'm not necessarily all for the financial institutions that currently exist, but where we can make a new way, let's try and make a new way. But where there's already a way, let's find meaningful ways of working together and maintaining our authenticity as we work together, because we all want to do business and we all want to grow. Because for any business or individual that do not grow, there's something that's unfulfilled. And as humans, we all want to live to our fullest potential. And this is where finance helps. This is where teams kind of helps, and this is where trust helps, and this is where those that make those banking decisions, is important that they reflect the communities that they serve, because sometimes you understand the vision because you are from a community, and you understand the markets because you're from the community, not about how it's being presented in well-documented, good numbers, which is just forecasting, and you buy the perception of the books and the numbers, sometimes it's just knowing what the person is talking about and you're able to relate, and you can, press the yes button as opposed to pressing the no button. So what's the term? Representation matters across all boards. So either it's through yourselves as an organization that we're working with, or through the potential partners that you work with. Representation matters, and where there's no representation, we literally have got limited trust, limited hope, and limited potential outcomes. We just hope that we value each other as humans, and hopefully we can see that in the results and the numbers that's then end up getting successful applications. And the more we see that turn around, the more faith then people have in the relationship, in the discussions, and in these different opportunities. So we need to see more success. If we are to have an inclusive economy, one that represents modern Britain, then access to finance has never been more imperative for the growth of a nation, for the growth of communities, and for the inspiration of young people. So it's important because it lights hope and it shows prosperity.